Welcome into Spartan Yards at Greenbrier East High School, where tonight we're going to talk a little bit about something new in the Greenbrier Valley, American Legion Baseball coming to the Greenbrier Valley. Thanks to Corey Mann and his staff has put this all together. I'm Cam Huffman along with our Greenbrier Post 69 American Legion manager, Corey Mann, and tonight we're just going to go through a little bit about what this new team is, what American Legion Baseball is, what folks in the Greenbrier Valley can expect from it, and what they'll see if they come out to the ballpark this summer. So, Corey, let's just start there. Tell me a little bit about what American Legion Baseball is. I know I've researched it a little bit since you put this team together, but quite a history of American Legion Baseball.
Yeah, it's one of the oldest, most respected organizations there are in the nation. It was found the American Legion put together baseball, part of it back in 1925, shortly after World War I. And it was originally done for opportunities to develop leadership, sportsmanship, citizenship, and character for young men. And when I was looking around to what would make sense for our community and how we could do baseball more, all these travel ball teams that cost a ton of money. And I know when I was growing up, American Legion was a thing. It was mostly the Beckley Bash, and a lot of guys around here played for the Beckley Bash. And, we've built this facility out, and I just wanted to kind of bring it back home. We've had teams on and off in the past, and there's guys in this community who's played for, Greenbrier Post 69, and I just wanted to bring it back to our community, bring the big field back to our community. We seem to outsource a lot of baseball other than at the high school, like specifically here at Greenbrier East to Beckley or Christiansburg. Like that's where most of the action's happening. So when I was looking at stuff, and I was just like, let's bring back American Legion, get these lights back on in the summer when the weather's real nice, and try to bring our community out to the ballpark and let them see what we've developed here at Greenbrier East with our facilities, and let them get to know our kids and come out and really have something to be proud of and support in June and July nights when the weather's nice, and have fun at the ballpark.
No doubt about it. And looking around a little bit when this kind of started, I knew, as you said, about Beckley Bash, and I knew like there's some teams in Morgantown that have had good teams over the years, but I didn't know how big exactly American Legion Baseball was in the state of West Virginia. But there's a lot of teams across the state, so putting together schedules is not too difficult.
No, it's not, and it's a short season, but it's a lot of games. So we're at the Junior American Legion. So there's Junior and Senior American Legion. The Junior is more or less this up and coming 9th, 10th, and 11th, or 17U, roughly. There's an age specific date, and then there's Senior that's more or less your seniors and some freshmen in college, and then blankets kind of everybody. And where we're just starting out, I wanted to keep it local in our community the best I could, and then if we need to reach out and get players, I'm more than welcome to bring players in from border counties that, as long as they don't have an American Legion team, they can get a waiver and or they don't even have to have a waiver if there's not a team, and play here. But there are a lot of teams throughout the state, and you have an area, and our area is always kind of big because that's what we do. We travel, right? So no matter what, if we're in the high school season or whatever we do, where we're stuck, where we live, we just have to travel, and that's the reality of it. But our area is Beckley, Richwood, more or less. I'm going to say the high schools: Herbert, Hoover, Capital, Logan, and Sissonville. And what you do is you play a home and home more or less for the season. You play a home and home with each area team, and then that winner of that area qualifies for a state tournament, and then you actually go and play for a state title. So it's pretty cool. It's kind of lines like with the high school season as well. So it goes well with learning how to play a season and play a lot of games fast and having depth in your roster, and you're actually trying to be the best in the state. And I think it's important. I think it's important for communities. I think it's cool. And our community here at Greenbrier County, like, shout out to the girls basketball team for being state champions this year. And it's like you see the buzz around the community and how awesome that is for everybody here. And I just wanted to bring, something from the baseball standpoint. Like, yeah, we compete in the spring season, obviously, and we've done really well in the past 10 years at times, and we've had some down years, and that's all part of, local high school sports. But it's hard to convince people to come out in the early spring when it's 32 degrees and spitting snow and let's go watch baseball. But if we can provide a 6 p.m. game, in June when it's 75 to 80 degrees outside, and get some kids out here running around and eating hot dogs and having fun, like that's more or less, I want to bring the community into Spartan Yards and allow them to have something that they are proud of and look forward to and come out and watch.
And as you mentioned kind of earlier, it's not just baseball. It has that American Legion component to it, and kind of teaching those values of American Legion. And to get a team off the ground, you had to have the support of Post 69, and they stepped up and supported this team in a big way.
Yeah, absolutely. I reached out, and asked for their blessing to play under their post, and they were excited to let us do that. And I'm very thankful for them for allowing us to do that. And I hope all their members come out and watch us play and see what it's about. And one thing about American Legion, they have core values, and they teach respect, leadership, accountability, teamwork, service to the communities. And that's my main thing with this is, like, let's make it a community event. Let's have Greenbrier County, East, West, all of Greenbrier County, like, come out and just have fun at the ballpark and make it a good atmosphere and respect opponents, respect who you play, respect umpires, respect coaches, because all that goes a long ways. And to an extent, it's gotten lost in some scenes, and I'm big on, like, having class and doing things the right way. Mm-hmm. And it speaks to our values as when you circle it back into our program, Greenbrier East. We live by the Sparta mentality, or our core principles of Sparta, which is sacrifice, prepared, accountable, relentless, toughness, and attitude. And everything we do, we just want to, like, I tell my guys, like, have a big chest and head up and be proud of who you are and the community you represent. And that's what I want out of this. I want people to support these kids and have a positive atmosphere and start taking sports in our community and, like, really get in behind them and push them, because there's a lot of life lessons that you learn in sports that I know has made a huge impact on my life. Mm-hmm. And when you can learn to deal with adversity and move forward in a positive light, it goes a long way in life. And I think that's when you go back to why they created American Legion Baseball, I think that is a big part of the foresight of what they were trying to accomplish.
Mm-hmm. You've mentioned, just in the first few minutes we've been talking, you've said the word community 100 times maybe. But to me, in looking at this program, that's one of the things that I love about it is, we've had kids, I've actually coached them, played travel baseball over the summers, and there's nothing wrong with that, and you get some good competition and go play a lot of places, but sometimes to get your numbers, you got to draw from a little bit wider area, and you go all over the place to play. But this team truly is a community team. Is everybody you have 15 players on your roster right now, and all of them hopefully will be wearing green and gold at Greenbrier East here coming up.
Yeah, absolutely. And what also is awesome is the coaches that coach this team have all played for me personally, and went on to play college baseball, and now they're coming back and wanting to work with our youth and teach them what they were taught when they went on to play college baseball. So it's a little more in depth, with knowledge, and it's really cool. You're starting to see stuff come full circle when you have kids that have played for you, go to college, get a degree, come back, work in the community, have our successful young men, and then they're like, hey, coach, I want to come back and give back to the program that helped develop me into the person I am. Like, to me, that's the most humbling thing you can hear as a coach.
Talk a little bit about that staff you've put together to lead these guys.
Yeah, so they're all kind of in and around, and they're back home now, and everybody's got busy schedules. It's summer. We got one coach right now that's at the beach because that's what people do in the summer, right? So I just put together a big staff for that kind of stuff, and it's no different than, like, with summer ball teams. If you ever follow, like, summer ball teams, a lot of times it's like you'll have a kid out for a week to go to the beach or whatever it may be. So commitment is a thing. Like, it's not like, hey, just come and go as you please. But at the same time, I understand it is summertime, and you should have a life and have some fun, and be able to go with your family and take a vacation, because some of that stuff's lost too with your playing travel ball weekend every weekend, and families don't get that week vacation or get that home meal every night. And if you can get baseball like more local and get kids back eating dinner at the dinner table with their family and bring that family values back, I feel like that's going to make our community better. Mm-hmm. And if I can do, as small as it is, if I can do that little part, I would love to be able to say we made that impact on this community.
Obviously, there's a lot of auxiliary aspects to it that we've talked about, but let's get to the baseball aspect of it a little bit. Obviously, you've got. I mentioned earlier. I think you've got. Is there seven up and coming ninth graders on your team?
Yes.
And then you have a little bit of everything else mixed in there with them. But I know it's valuable to everybody, but to those up and coming players, it has to be incredibly valuable to get a little taste of what they'll see on the high school field before they actually step onto it.
Yeah, absolutely. Our numbers have been down the last few years, and we've lost a JV team. We haven't had enough. So one thing I love about this is, it's giving them that introduction. It's very hard for a freshman to compete against seniors, and you have to be, a big, strong kid and be able to do that. And so when we haven't been able to field a JV team, you got to select few kids that you're trying to work them in games, mm-hmm. right? And they're trying to learn on the fly, and all of a sudden they're going from competing against a kid their age to a kid that's 4 years older and has a beard,
right?
And he's throwing 87 miles an hour, and it's like, what the heck just happened? Like, why am I not good anymore? Because they don't necessarily understand that. They think they should be able to hit that. Mm-hmm. So it almost took a level of development out for the ones that need that level. And what's nice about this is, it kind of circles back around. That provides us kind of with that JV until we can get that JV back up and going, and numbers are getting there. We're going to get that. But it introduces kids to it. I mean, not that they haven't played, obviously, before, but it gets them into the program. That allows them to get back with the guys that they've played with in the past, and just really take a step towards that high school game that's faster. And you see it all the time. A kid will get picked off, or we played a game last night and a kid hit a ball, and a bunch of the up and coming freshmen are like, that ball's out of here, and it's a routine fly ball to the center fielder. Right. He's like, oh, he crushed that, and I was like, it's a routine fly ball to the center fielder. So it's just like the difference in the levels of the game, and the faster you can introduce kids to it, and the faster you can get them up to speed, obviously the better it is for us as a high school, and also them as players.
You kind of reminded me of it when you were saying that this American Legion team is sort of a part of a bigger picture you've put together of ultimately bringing the entire community get together at all levels when it comes to baseball, and it's taken some time to get that together. Maybe it's not fully where you want it to be yet, but big picture wise, just talk about what you want this to be eventually.
We had a meeting last fall with some people, and we were talking about what looks best for our community, because we do live kind of almost in a little bit of a unique community as far as just where we are and what baseball looks like. We've consolidated so much, and it's not anybody's fault. We've used to have Little League in every little town: Alderson, Ronsford, White Sulphur, Frankfort, Williamsburg even. And you name it. And then, over the years with the way the world works and those communities getting smaller and kids, not being able to field teams, you start consolidating at a Little League level. And everything, I think, now is ran out of Central Greenbrier, which is great in one aspect, but not in the other. And, you lose players, not by anybody's fault, but some of these parents can't necessarily take their kids to Lewisburg all the time to play baseball or practice baseball or any stuff like that. So that there's some that you probably lose just out of circumstance, and then we consolidate again at the middle school level, and then obviously this has been consolidated since 1969. So for me, it's getting creative. How can we create more teams, but at the same time make sure those teams are quality and kids are getting developed? And we've done some things that I think are a step in the right direction, and we're getting coaches in spots that I think is going to help us out in the future and help with, really develop kids and see the developmental part of baseball as opposed to just like going out and every game's game 7 of the World Series and we're going to win and that's the end of it. And like, yes, every time you step through the lines, like you play the game to win, like, but at the same time, it's like you have to see the 1,000-foot view of developing kids. And even my job is to develop kids for if they want to play baseball at the next level, like I need to make them college ready. And I take that like personal and take great pride in that and want to make sure that I'm doing a good job. And I don't ever want a kid to go to college and feel like he's behind. And from talking with the kids we have sent and, watching them, most of them, we've sent 24 and a lot of them have gone and actually gotten playing time at the college level as freshmen. And, I take great pride in that. And that's not me. That's our coaching staff. That's our community. That's our facility. That's everybody around, parents, getting their kids to practices, getting their kids to the lessons, providing opportunities. And at the end of the day, like that's my job. Provide opportunities, coach the game the best way that I can, make sure that there's structure and a big picture, and try to do our community justice from having the best baseball that we can as a community.
Yeah, you mentioned a couple times too in there the young coaches, the college players you have coming back, and having had 2 of them on my staff with the Rockies this year, I can say like it's a huge advantage. If for nothing else, the kids listen to those kids and feed off them in a different way. They can obviously they know things that I don't know or other people don't know, but it's not just that. They can say the same things, but the kids really buy in when somebody younger is saying it that has played at that college level and they know has been where they want to go.
Yeah, little eyes are upon you, right? So and I try to preach that message to all our kids, whether it's our high school kids or these post kids. Like the way you play the game matters. Like somebody's always watching you. Your body language matters, what you do matters, and it's no difference for these guys. Like obviously, you just said it. They come back, they coach a little bit, and they're young, and they know they played at said school, and they're looking up to those guys. And if they tell them like, just say something simple like, "Hey, try this on a grip," like they're bought in. They're like, "Hey, this said coach told me to, and he pitched here, and I'm all in."
Mm-hmm.
And youth is on their side. We were all that young one time. I kind of had that influence when I came back for playing college baseball, but now I'm older, washed up, never was, that, just tries to speak wisdom. So,
yeah. So let's talk a little bit on the field. Just tell me a little bit about the club that you do have. What type of players are you expecting? What type of baseball do you think you're going to play this summer?
I always say play the game hard, fast, and loose. We like to play a little bit of small ball. But right now my main focus is on playing clean baseball because we haven't done that recently. Mm-hmm. So throwing and catching the baseball and putting an emphasis on that matters. And that's kind of like where I'm at. If you can't make routine plays, if you can't consistently make throws, then it's a hard game to play. If you can't throw strikes, it's a hard game to play. So, like, as simple as it sounds, like this summer for these guys, play the game hard, fast, and loose. Try to get better at getting jumps off of pitchers and and stealing some bags, but catch play, man. You got to be able to make throws and catch the baseball.
No doubt about that. The formula of the way this works, most games are doubleheaders. Mm-hmm. You play one 7-inning game and then a 5-inning game. Does that formula, and I guess the 7-inning game is the only one that counts standings wise, correct?
Right. So it's more or less set up as a home and home mm-hmm. with a little more baseball. So, and it's up to the team. So you might come to the ballpark one night, and we play a 7 and a 5. Mm-hmm. And you might come and the 2 coaches agreed to, hey, let's play a 7 and a 7 tonight. Mm-hmm. So you can play more baseball if you want, and you have the pitching staffs and stuff like that to do it, and we will do that some. But the first 2 games, or the first games matter at each, so it's your home and home. Mm-hmm. And then, so everything's even. and then that'll go into your overall ranking when you go for states.
I imagine that allows you to do a lot of different things from a coaching perspective, to play some different guys, to put some different pitchers on the mound. Have you thought a lot about how you're going to manage that?
Yeah, my thing is I like to see how kids perform in situations. So obviously, it's a season and we're trying to make the state tournament. So that first game, we're going to put a lot of emphasis on winning. But there's be situations where, you want to see like a kid, can he get a hit in this at bat? Or, okay, we got a 2-run lead, can this pitcher shut it down? So a lot of it's like, for me, is I want to see kids and what's their heartbeat like? How heavy are they breathing? Are they stiff or relaxed? Can they execute in the moment? And then if they can't, it gives us more time to coach them out of that. So I'm not going to default to, experience every time we're in a big moment, because if you really watch baseball, when it matters the most, you're usually at the pitch and depth of your pitchers that haven't pitched a ton. Mm-hmm. And if you don't know who has a slow heartbeat, then you're probably not going to go very far in the postseason.
Right. So we talked a little bit about the community coming out to see a game. That the next one is coming up tomorrow night. The first one, home debut for this post 69 team tomorrow night, starting at 6:00. So hopefully see a big crowd out here at the ballpark.
Yeah, please come on out. We are going to do a little bit of a gate because unfortunately, with everything, there's a little bit of money. So umpire fees and league fees and stuff like that just helps go towards that. We're not making money off of it, but it helps us get this up off the ground and running. So just be aware of that. Cash is $7 for adults, $5 for kids, same as the high school, coming to a high school game. I wish I could provide it for free, but reality is we gotta be able to pay umpires. If you don't have umpires, you can't play the game. So, and they do the best they can to help us out, but it's all part of it. So I just want to go ahead and say that so people don't get blindsided by that. We're gonna open up. I'm hoping to open up the concession stand. It's gonna be small, especially tomorrow night, because all this kind of goes really quick on us, and so it's gonna be like just some pop and some chips maybe, and just like nothing crazy. So I wouldn't come to try to get dinner at the ballpark. But maybe as we go kind of next couple weeks, if we can kind of build that thing up and get some people in there wanting to run it and do it right, maybe we'll do some kind of dinner or something at the ballpark where we run a deal or stuff like that. But
so tomorrow night, I know that this run that the WVU baseball team is on right now has brought a new baseball buzz to this community. I've seen people talking baseball that I've never seen talking baseball before. So hopefully that leads to a lot more people coming out and seeing this team. And it'd be a perfect day of baseball tomorrow. You can watch the Mountaineers at 2, sing country roads, and then come on out to Spartan Yards.
Absolutely, yeah. And, Randy Mazey and Steve Sabins, what they've done at WVU has been unreal. I went up there early when Randy had took it over, and they just kind of got in the stadium, and I should say Coach Mays, just shouldn't call him Randy.
He's Randy now. He's not a coach anymore.
Nice. I think I got too much respect for the man, but anyways, and worked at camp, and so I've kind of got to see it all develop, and everybody has to an extent, but when you go up there and talk to them guys and have a little bit of a relationship, not that it is personal, like I'm not that important, but it feels more personal, so to speak. So it's been really fun to watch and kind of get to chit-chat back and forth with them, and has motivated me even here, like to make the big time where you're at. Like if you go back to Holly Field there and see what WVU baseball used to be to what it is now, it's like it motivates you. Like, why can't I do that on a scale here? And so that's always my vision, and I will just talk a little bit about the facilities. We've built the indoor. It's one of the biggest indoors probably on a school ground in the state. And then just always trying to do projects, and my next project's grandstand seating, because I want to see grandstand seating in behind this and be able to, host some tournaments and have a place that our community is proud of. So when people come in here, it looks more like a ballpark. There's a concourse instead of grass. And we're just, when you look back here, we get it looking really nice, and it's like something our community is like, have you seen Greenbrier baseball field? Isn't it beautiful? Isn't it? It's a beautiful night. Like, let's go out there and support them and just be in that positive atmosphere and really be proud of who we are as a community, the way these kids compete on the field, the class that they have, and kind of bring that old school feel back to community.
And everybody, obviously, communities love to see a winner. I remember when I was in school, I was a year ahead of Seth McClung, but there were some big crowds out here when he was pitching, and people wanted to come see baseball. So winning always does that. But I say that just to say, like, when you look at the future of what this program can be, your freshmen really performed at a high level this year. Mm-hmm. You've got some good kids coming up behind them in 8th and 7th and 6th grade too. So the future of post 69 and Greenbrier East baseball looks really bright.
Very bright. If you look at our record this year, you're not going to see many wins, but there was a ton of wins. And I always tell the guys, like, leave the program better than you find it. And that doesn't always necessarily mean in the record column. And the seniors this year did a great job of mentoring the younger guys and, bringing them along and helping them understand the game and then how to conduct yourself on the field, how to get some how to be positive and encouraging them, and then this next year we're gonna be obviously better next year than we were this year, and then it's just going to continue building. Like, if you could see everything kind of pull the curtain back, mm-hmm. Yeah, it's coming.
Yeah, and you talked about WVU. It's the same thing. The facilities came first, the buy-in came first, and then it built from there. And you can kind of see the same stepping stones being laid here as well.
Mm-hmm. And before we wrap up WVU, we are having our satellite youth camp, so they are coming here July 18th from 1 to 4. We get them coming here now to us and putting on camps for our youth. So if you have a kid that will be interested in that, make sure you get signed up. And they're coming off an Omaha run, wherever that leads. Hopefully they bring back a national championship with them.
Absolutely.
But yeah, so their players will be out here and working with our players. So.
And I know that's ages. It runs up. They can't work with high school kids, right. but other than that, I think they said they're willing to accept anybody and work with anybody who wants to come be a part of it.
Yep.
Well, that should be fun. It should be fun seeing post-69 baseball here this summer. Just looking at what it feels like out here tonight, imagining a game going on under the lights, it's going to be a fun summer. So really looking forward to it. Thank you for joining us here tonight, and wish you the best of luck.
I thank you, Cam. And one thing I want to say is if you played on the previous post-69 team, and I know they've had them on and off in the past, like, please come out. And if you don't know me, like, pull me aside, shake my hand. I'd like to meet you, talk to you, and if you played Greenbrier East baseball in the past, and you've helped build this to some capacity. If you've played here, if you've been a part of it, if you were a parent of a player that's played here, like, you've done this, and I want you to come back. And I'd like to talk to you and show you around and show you the facilities, and just have people here. And the last thing I want to do is thank my wife for allowing me to do all this. She's super understanding. Sometimes she wonders if I'm ever coming home, but at the end of the day, if I didn't have her support and her backing me, I wouldn't be able to provide opportunities for kids like this. So I'm going to make sure that,
This is exactly what you needed, was another thing on your plate, right?
Yeah, she's only traveling to Sweden right now, so.
No doubt. Well, it's going to be a whole lot of fun, and like I said, we look forward to it. Hope people come out and pack the ballpark. I know some of you watching, though, are not close enough to come out and pack the ballpark, and good news for you is you'll be able to tune in and see most of the games right here on the Greenbrier Valley channel. So hopefully people, grandparents and aunts and uncles and friends that are near and far will be able to tune in and see some post-69 baseball. All right, well, that's going to wrap it up for here for Corey Mann. I'm Cam Huffman. Thanks for watching. We'll see you at the ballpark this summer.
Thank you.